I've been told that you have posted every day since 2019. Is that true?
It's almost true. Look, I'm gonna be honest, probably maybe I missed 10 days, but if you were to take all my videos and divide it across the days, it's a minimum of 2 videos per day. I posted a video and it got 40,000 views, and from that moment I was hooked. I was the girl who got average grades. I wasn't the smart one, I wasn't the pretty one, I was just really average in society standards, and I didn't let society define who I was. I've really learnt boundaries the hard way. At the end of 2023, I had a burnout. And so I kept getting panic attacks like crazy because my nervous system was in overdrive. This is really just being vulnerable and raw. I got an ounce of that influence, that fame, and I got lost in it. I craved it every day. I was like, I just want to be well known. And I lost a little bit of who I was trying to do that.
Bridey Drake, welcome to the Stellar Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. I don't do podcasts really often, so it's new for me, but I'm really excited.
You've won Australian TikTok Creator of the Year. You've backed it up with 2 consecutive wins at the Actor Awards, and you're about to release a 6-part documentary series called Pure Average. How are you feeling with something like a documentary series coming out that's going to connect with not only for your followers, but for people that aren't necessarily on social media or don't really know you from Instagram and TikTok, but are going to discover you through a streaming service?
Look, it's very new to me. This opportunity came at a time that I did not expect it. So to give you a little backstory, I went to a conference and I just so happened to be sitting next to this lady, and she's Danielle McAlpin Johnson, and she is this director, and I was sitting next to her. I had no idea. I was just telling her my life story, and she's like, "Oh, that's nice. You should take your story to TV." And I was like, "Yeah, ooh, that's a good idea." And then before we knew it, we're like, let's do this together. She heard my story. She's like, I want to produce this. And before I knew it, I was in the middle of filming a documentary.
I've been told that you have posted every day since 2019. Is that true? And so you haven't missed a single day?
It's almost true. Look, I'm gonna be honest, probably maybe I missed 10 days. But if you were to take all my videos and divide it across the days, it's a minimum of 2 videos per day.
That's pretty much uninterrupted 6 years. You're only 25. You turn 26 later this year. So that's obviously almost all of your adult life. And I understand so much of it's been shot in the bedroom of your childhood home. Just to take us a little bit back, Bridey, to where it all began for you in those early days and years of what we would now call one of Australia's top content creators. Actually, officially, Australia's top content creator with the awards to prove it.
Yeah, well, I started in 2019, and essentially what happened is I was like, TikTok just came out, and I was like, I'm gonna post a video. It was a bit of fun. And then I posted a video and it got 40,000 views, and from that moment I was hooked. I was like, I love videos, I'm gonna keep posting. So I started at COVID times, and I started hand in hand with my business. So I was originally posting to make sales for my pajama business, but I fell in love even more so with the content creation part, and I got hooked, and I have not looked back since. And people are like, "Oh, how do you post so much online? Like, is that not so vulnerable?" I'm like, I don't know why, but I love it. I'm like, no, it's like I have, in a way, through the last 6 years of posting, I have what I would say friends all around the world. And I'm so grateful for that. Like, that is so rare and so cool. So yeah, the beginning days were really good. And just haven't looked back since.
Do you think that you would have built the business you have as a content creator if COVID hadn't happened?
I'm so wired for it that I think my journey would have led to this some way, because I feel like this is what I'm made to do. But definitely through COVID, my pajama business, we used to do markets, and so that got shut down because of COVID. And I put all the pajamas under my bed and I said, I'm giving up on business. I'm so done. And then I was like, I'm just gonna make one video online and I'm gonna sell these at half price and make a cheap website and just get rid of them so they don't just sit under my bed. And then made the video, blew up, sold out overnight. And I was like, Oh, I kind of like this.
At what point did you discover that people were consuming your content for you and not only for the product and the business?
I think it was from the moment I showed up online. People were like, I like this girl. And I was like, why? This is cool. What am I doing? And I think ever since the moment I started, I've shown up with so much authenticity and I just show up as myself. And I think people have just really gravitated to that because I would consider myself like, your Aussie girl next door who somehow made it. And so people are like, and even after 7 years, I haven't changed much. I still am in the same room I started in, so people love that too.
You've mentioned the word authenticity, which is clearly at the heart of your appeal. Has there been times over that 6 years where you've felt yourself start to create a separate identity at any point? And if that's happened, has that been a good thing? Or have you gone, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want there to be a delineation between Bridey Drake, the individual, and Bridey Drake, the public facing content creator?
Yeah, I think from time to time, I do get hate comments. That's just inevitable when you're online. And I think that if I get too caught up in the hate comments, it starts to change my authentic fun side because I get so wrapped up in trying to please everyone. So there's been moments where I've actually had to stop and go, Bridey, no, stop. Go back to the authentic part of why you started. But I think for the most part, it's pretty okay because I've got a family that keeps me down to earth, especially my dad. He's like, "Don't you dare get a big head. Don't you dare let these comments, like good or bad, um, don't you dare let this happen to you. Like, don't you dare pay attention to that." And even he kept me down to earth with the TikTok awards because I got like hyper focused on it. And I was like, "Oh, I want to win. I want to win." And my dad reaffirmed with me the whole time, if you win or if you lose, it does not dictate to you who you are. And we get to see that a lot in the documentary as well, which I think even rewatching the way my dad helped me keep my identity and my down to earth strength, rewatching that on the documentary, which is coming out soon, is just really healing. And it's really cool to know that I'm down to earth because of my family too.
How's it felt seeing your story being told? Because should make the point that you have funded this documentary. So you're not
Yeah.
just the subject of it, you're very much at the heart of it. How have you found that more long form experience?
Definitely different. Like to retouch on why I self-funded it is I wanted my authentic story to get taken and shown. I didn't want any, producer or director to come in and manipulate my story for attention. I wanted it to be just real raw Bridey on the screen. And my director Danielle, she aligned with me so much, and she's like, "We are going to bring the most authentic, real story to TV." And taking it from short form to long form, it's hard because, to be honest, when I post a video that's short form, I get that instant dopamine rush that people get to see it. But this has been a really long project. And so I have learnt patience through it and to just allow it to take place, not because I'm used to that instant gratification through my videos. And I'm like, I'm putting in all this work, but I'm not seeing the results. But so that's been a little bit different, but also it's been really good for me. I'm like, Righty, slow down.
You mentioned that like instant gratification, and I think everyone really relates to that, Bridey. For yourself, also as a consumer as well as a creator, do you have ever concerns about our collective attention span? Because we go, if this hasn't grabbed me in 4 seconds, I'm done.
Look, yeah, that's an ongoing battle. Even with myself, I have to put in boundaries. Like, for me, it's like keeping my scrolling time to a very minimal time. Like, it's okay to consume it, but just don't let it be 24/7 hours a day, like just make it half an hour.
I wanted to ask you about your own screen habits. How do you navigate that yourself?
It's hard because I understand why there needs to be boundaries with social media. And then also I post on social media. So it's kind of like a little bit of both. I think for me though, I see social media as a way to help young girls and teach young girls how to live a wholesome life. So for me, that's my purpose in it all. Is like they're going to be watching social media whether we like it or we don't, and so I want to give them something wholesome to watch and also uplifting, helping them find their identity and their strengths. So I come at social media with my purpose and trying to bring a good light to what can be a bad. situation.
So maybe I could ask you to define what wholesome would be, and what that content, how that definition of wholesome plays out to your audience.
Yeah, I think it's like I just don't put on a facade. I'm not the smartest girl you've ever met. I'm not the skinniest girl, the model girl. I'm just your girl next door. And I live a very joyful, fulfilling life that I created my own way. And I love what I do. I love my family. I love my friends. And so for me, wholesome is just being like, hey, there's so many hidden agendas out there, but just show up authentically as yourself because I am. And look what's happening with me. And, I don't have the ideal body type, but that's okay. I'm so beautiful and so are you. So that's kind of how I would define like being wholesome. And yeah, just also simple things like not swearing, not having, you know, hidden agendas or exposing young children to things that are too extreme. So yeah, that's how I would describe it.
I really love your answer, and part of the reason we wanted to chat to you was exactly this, Bridey, is that I think in mainstream media and our parts of the community that aren't on TikTok and aren't following creators such as yourself, like I say, the risk of sounding like a stuck record, there's definitely not an understanding of the diversity of content being published and distributed across social media, and content that is affirming and positive and is wholesome, to use your word. Audience is obviously there. The young women really are hungry for that sort of content.
I think for me, it's like trying to call out purpose, their purpose and their fulfillment through my videos as well. Is like even just reaffirming that like I'm proud of them. Something so simple like that. Um, you know, but it's all about, making sure that they know that they are loved and they've got purpose and they're made for amazing things. Because I share a bit about my journey as well, being essentially the documentary is called Pure Average. And what that means is I was the girl who got average grades. I wasn't the smart one, I wasn't the pretty one. I was just really average in society standards. And I didn't let society define who I was. And so I stood up in my purpose and I stood tall and I am where I am today because I didn't listen to the opinions of others. And I think I share that message, like that underlying message in all my videos. I'm not afraid to fail. I'm not afraid to look like a little bit of a wacko. And I think people love that as well because it's like, oh, she's real. Okay. She's just showing up as herself and she's giving it her best shot. Yeah, so that's another thing.
You've spoken about pushing back by just being an example about the aesthetic, especially I think on Instagram, Bridey, where I think especially in the recent times in the era of Ozempic, we've seen obviously so many young women feel like they're getting bombarded with one definition of femininity and what an acceptable quote unquote body looks like on a woman. So you've touched upon that a couple of times and how that really makes so much of your audience feel seen. Can I ask you to chat a little bit more about that specifically on the body image? And is there ever part of you that feels a pressure that comes with that?
Yeah. It's a complicated one. I think for the most part, a lot of us women go through body self-worth issues. It's so rampant at the moment. I think back in school, I wasn't the pretty one and in society standards. And my dad would pull me aside and say, no, 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 we don't think that. You are beautiful. There's so much more to you than by the weight of your body. And I've been slammed on social media for gaining weight. A video of me went super viral, and all the comments were going, "Oh, she's gained weight. She's so ugly now." So I've been hit with a hammer by it. But at the same time, it's like, what the heck? I'm just Bridey girl. Like, let me be. I think my dad has definitely taught me that there's a lot more to me than my body and the way I look. And I, I don't, this might be TMI. I don't get plastic surgery. I don't, get enhancements. I just show up and then, have a good crack. I mean, I've dyed my hair, I bleached my hair, so that's about it.
Would you like to see more women being authentic and feeling safe in being authentic in the creator space, particularly high profile accounts?
Yeah. Look, I can't speak for everyone. All I know is that I'm showing up authentically and it's working for me. So I'm like, I don't think you have to build your career off being a straight 180, um, cookie cutter girl. I think you can just rock up and say, "This is me. Do you like me?" And then I can guarantee you'll find a crowd.
So many young Australians identify being a content creator as their preferred ideal career. You make it look easy, but it's not easy. What do you say when young people ask you about that? Or hypothetically, if I was asking on behalf of all the young people that want to be you, what's your advice?
Yeah, wow, that's a compliment. If they said they wanted to be me, I'd be like, "Whoa." I would say just be really careful not to get lost in it. I think for me personally, I started this and I got an ounce. This is really just being vulnerable and raw. I got an ounce of that influence, that fame, and I got lost in it. I craved it every day. I was like, I just want to be well known. And I lost a little bit of who I was trying to do that. And so I say that and now I've definitely, regained who I am and all of that, and I've learned boundaries and what it truly matters, but I would just suggest, like, don't get lost in it. There's so much more to life than getting at your phone and trying to be famous. I love making videos. I make it because I actually like the creative process of it. In terms of just doing it to get famous, I would suggest not because you'll get lost in it, and the most important thing is not losing yourself in the industry you choose to go in.
You mentioned earlier that sort of, dopamine hit. And I'd really like to unpack with you a little bit how you've navigated that and put some boundaries alongside that, the analytics. For you, what was that initial rush like seeing the numbers go up?
Yeah, I've been doing it for 7 years now, so I've really learnt boundaries the hard way. At the end of 2023, I had a burnout, and so I kept getting panic attacks like crazy because my nervous system was in overdrive because that was all I was doing. Now, when I switch off, I am off. You cannot contact me. I will not be responsive. I also have kept quite a lot of like whether it be friendships or relationships offline, and people are like, "Oh, why have you done that? What's the point of that?" But for me, that's protection, and that's also my safe place and a place where I don't have to be Bridey Drake. I can just be Bridey. But yeah, if you don't put in boundaries when you start, you'll learn the hard way when to.
I've seen you described somewhere as an accidental influencer. And I thought, accidental? I mean, it's been, yeah, a lot of years. We've already discussed posting every day to go into building a global following of 11 million followers. I would have thought there's not much accidental about that. How do you respond to that sort of tag?
Yeah, I think when I say accidental influencer, I'm not your straight 180 influencer. So in that regards, it's like, oh, you wouldn't pick me out of a crowd and go, she's gonna be well known. You wouldn't do that. I'm just accidental. I just kind of rocked up. But in the terms of my work ethic, that's not accidental. I've woken up every single day and I'm so fixated. I think it might be my little ADHD side, but yeah, I work really hard and my job's not hard. I work really hard though.
You do work really hard. And I think, again, there is probably. In any industry that seems a bit glamorous, there's always, I think, an assumption sometimes that it's not hard work. And I think that's an important thing to understand. I know we're not asking anyone hashtag pray for Bridey. You're doing okay.
Yeah, I think for me, the hardest part is my pajama business. I love it, but running a business is rough. It's a lot of fun. It's so fulfilling. It's just yeah, that's hard, but I've got an amazing team around me. So content creation, that for me, it comes so naturally that I don't find it hard. Running the business behind the scenes is like, and building that off the ground. I have like in terms of business, I have reinvested every single dollar I've made from my pajama business back in the business. So I'm like that's where a lot of my strength goes to.
Would you identify as an entrepreneur? And when did your interest in growing businesses and taking finances and long-term investment seriously, how and when did that come about for you?
Yeah, well, In my opinion, I was an entrepreneur first, content creator second. From the age of 9, I've been into business, and I have failed so much. Like when I was 9 years old, I was doing little businesses like lolly bags. I had a candy business. I had a wallet business. You name it, I did it. I failed all of those. I had a driftwood Christmas tree business. So random, but I have been entrepreneurial since the day I came out of the womb. And so then that's been my priority. And content creation is like my joy and my hobby. I would say that's now my job. But for me, business is my true calling. I love it. I love creating products that people love, and getting a whole team on board and bringing people along for the journey. So yeah, I started my pajama business when I was 19, but that was after 10 years of failing. So I was definitely happy to see some success.
I've never met any successful business founder that doesn't have a couple of failures. But I think you might be the first successful entrepreneur I've ever spoken to that could say by the time you'd gone into primary school, you already had a few failed businesses behind you.
Oh yeah, I remember back in school, I don't know why I said this. I walked into my class and I was like, "Everyone, I'm gonna be a millionaire one day." And then I walked out and I was like, "That okay. It took you 10 years of yeah, some failing there." And then now people are like, "Oh, that's what she was talking about." But in the moment, they're like, "Oh, it's not working for you, Dal."
Bridey, one of the things I wanted to ask you is about you recently flew to LA for the Steve Irwin Gala
Mm.
and did some content there. We saw you with Robert Irwin eventually collaborating on a pajama range for wildlife warriors. Is that sort of celebrity collaboration something that you think will become part of your ongoing business strategy?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that one came super naturally. I think like we you know both Australians. Also, each year for my pajama business, we do non-for-profit sets. So last year we raised money for the Hawksbill turtles, which are critically endangered. We did for wires, so um, kangaroos that get hit, and then we did another pajama set for the Gadigal girls. So each year we do non-for-profit, and then this year we're like, let's go and do one with the wildlife warriors. We love everything they stand for. All the conservation they do is amazing. We're like, we totally align. Let's do this.
Well, you've won a couple of actor awards. Robert Irwin's just been announced as hosting the Logie Awards later this year. Maybe we'll see you make an appearance at the Logie Awards. I feel like that's the only award ceremony where we're still to get the content creators front and centre.
To be honest, I don't know much about the Logies. I probably should. I don't know. I live in a little country town. I'm not really in that space too much, but I'm sure I'll learn more.
Don't worry, if you've walked down the actors' red carpet, you can handle the Logie's red carpet. I wanted to ask a little bit about the fact that you have become a little bit of a property mogul. Tell me about buying your first property in Broken Hill on a whim.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I couldn't afford houses where I was living, and I was like, I want to do a house renovation with my dad because he's a builder, and my dad was all on board. And so we go out to the outback, and we're on this trip, and we're like, why don't we just, fully send it and renovate a dodgy little outback house? And we did. This is really bad. I didn't even look in the house. I drove past it, and that day I put a bid on the house, which I legally won and had to buy, and I was so grateful. It was the best house. I walked in, it had running water and electricity. I could have cried. I was like, Bridie, you probably should have gone for a walkthrough first. But my dad and I have gone on to renovate outback homes together, and it's been amazing because I've got to spend, when we've been renovating, I've been like this single young girl with my dad, and I get to learn all of these wisdom, and I'll never have this time again. So we've been painting walls for days on end, and we're just chatting and laughing, and I think that's memories I'll never forget. And he's also taught me how to use a drill. So I'm a little tradie now, just letting you know.
You recently introduced your boyfriend. I think his name's Gary. You've referred to him as Gary to your audience. You posted a video in December of yourself sitting in the car eating a toasted sandwich, telling your followers you were about to, quote, go hang out with one of my closest guy friends. I think he's about to ask me to be his girlfriend. That video, as of the time you and I are chatting, has had just under 20 million views on TikTok. How's he finding being brought into the world of you and your millions and millions of followers?
His name's not Gary, but I don't know why I do this. My followers will know. I call everything Gary. I probably have called him Gary in one of my videos anyway. He's been a lifelong friend of mine. Lifelong, I say like 7 years. So yeah, I went through a few little heartbreaks. And he's my first boyfriend. I started dating him in December last year. Kept him private for the most part. You might see his face right in the distance, right back there, but no one knows essentially who he is or his name or what he does. And that for me has been really lovely just to navigate the beginning of our relationship and to make sure that the foundation's strong before we go online, if we ever do. I don't know yet, but he's wonderful and he's not on social media. He has no idea about it. He just, yeah, I met him before social media and he's treated me the same then as he has now. So when it became to dating, that built a lot of trust in me that he's the same guy. And yeah, it was a little awkward going from friends to romance for a little bit there. We're like, is this okay? But now it's wonderful and he's such a great man. So I'm very blessed.
I'm very happy for you. And I think often some of the best relationships start with friendship. So many a rom-com has proven that.
So funny. People like are always speculating who it is. And my childhood best friend, Jimmy, and he's like best friends with my brother. I do a lot with him. He features in the documentary as well. I don't ask me why, but I Googled who was Bridey Drake dating, and they were like Jimmy Horton. And I was like, that's my guy best friend.
So not Gary, not Jimmy. Okay, okay. Any other rumors we want to clear up?
So funny. I was like, where did they get that from?
Bridey, in Pure Average, the upcoming documentary series, you do talk about navigating the line between living so publicly and wanting to keep things private. Tell me a little bit about that and how close have you gotten to the formula that works well for you?
I think it's all individual. For me personally, I'm an open book. I wear my heart on my sleeve. If I sometimes I say things before I even think it. But I think I've gotten really good at keeping my inner circle really tight and small out of protection for me. Some people just they get a bit funny when in the limelight. I think tall poppy syndrome often happens a lot, so I keep it very small, and the people around me are just incredible. So I've been really blessed with people who understand my heart and what I'm doing and my mission in all of this.
Would there be a moment, a scenario in your life where it might seem like this is something to share, this is content, and you have a boundary that you're like, no, actually, this is just a moment for me, Bridey, and for the people in my immediate real life?
Yeah, I think I'm getting pretty good at it. It doesn't bother me. I'm like, content will come. This is me just enjoying and embracing the time I'm in right now. But I come from a family of content creators, so we're all in the kitchen, in like where the pantry is. We've got tripods and lights, and people are so used to someone being filming at some point. So we're very used to it as a family. But there are definitely moments where I'm like, okay, this is just for me to enjoy, and I'm going to treat myself to just have brownie time.
If you're walking down the shops, you're walking through the local shopping centre out with friends, what sort of reaction do you get from the public? Because I think this era of the splintered algorithm is so fascinating. There'd be people where you are the absolute international superstar. You know, if I used an old school example like, I don't know, Brad Pitt or, Tom Cruise or Margot Robbie, and then there'd be people that would go, oh, who's that lovely girl? Did you go to school together? Because I think that's what a celebrity is these days. There's very few people that everyone knows who they are.
I can't fully comprehend it. I think because I live such a little life in Woy Woy that everyone in Woy Woy knows me, but I get recognized every single place I go. So I do have to be switched on in public, but at the same time, I have the most beautiful followers. So I go out in public and they just look at me and they go, Bridey, and it's like I'm meeting a long lost friend. So I'm very loved everywhere I go. It's very normal for me now. And it's because of my community that I have no trouble because I meet beautiful people and we have that instant connection, which I think is so rare. I'm so blessed. Like, it's having friends all around the world, and I get to just connect with people on the daily, and it's just that instant trust. So, yeah, I'm very grateful.
That relationship, which often is characterized sometimes as parasocial, which is really lovely because people feel they know you. And from everything you've said, that's because they do know you because of the authenticity. But that then reciprocal relationship where people are then sharing a lot of themselves with you, does that happen a lot?
Yeah, I think the connections that mean the world to me is when I meet someone in real life, in personal life, and they come up to me and they pour their heart out to me. I think, that's part of my ministry and why I do what I do online, and part of why I am a public figure is because I love people, and I love that they have the trust in me to be able to share something vulnerable that they're going through, and just to be someone that listens and that takes the time to just say that, I'm so proud of you, or I love you, you've got this. That could change someone's life. And for me, that's pretty special.
Let's say social media disappeared tomorrow. Spoiler alert, it's not going to. Went away completely. At 25, what would be next for Bridey?
Anything business, anything. I can't sit still. I'm like, if social media shut down, I'd be like, all right, what's next? Come on, I can't sit still. Let's just do something fun. Business has been the core of why I do what I do. So I think anything next is going to be something business related. TV space I'm entering into quite a lot. So yeah, I don't know. Chuck a camera in front of me, I'll be there.
Well, congratulations on the documentary. That was a very fortuitous dinner, wasn't it, when you were sitting there chatting about your life? And, oh, this should be a TV show. Here we go.
Yes,
It's
I
about to
know.
be.
Some things are just meant to be, and she's the director I trust the most, and she just did not manipulate or over exaggerate my story. She just shared it so well. She is like incredible. So, I think the stars aligned that night.
Absolutely. A lot of stars have aligned in your life. Bridey Drake, it's been really lovely to talk to you. And if you're not already, you can follow Bridey on Instagram or TikTok via the link in our show notes. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me.
Thanks so much, Bridey. All the best.